Section 6, the provisions of the Open Meetings Act requiring or relating to in-person attendance by members of a public body are suspended. Specifically, the requirement in 5 Illinois Code 120.2.01 that members of a public body must be physically present is suspended. And 2, the conditions in 5 Illinois Code 127 limiting when remote participation is permitted are suspended. Therefore, the Board of Education of East Main School District will meet this evening at 7 p.m. electronically. Roll call, please.
Ms. Kaczkowski? Ms. Zek? Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Gluskin?
Here.
Ms. Urban?
Here.
Mr. Simmons? And Ms. Brooke?
Here. Okay. So, due to the fact that the May Board of Education meeting is being held electronically per executive order in response to COVID-19, Section 6 public participation has changed slightly for this meeting. We have placed a link for the public to utilize for a comment or question. Have we received any thus far?
We have not.
Okay, very good. So then, can I please go ahead and have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gluskin?
Yes.
Ms. Urban?
Yes.
Ms. Brooke?
Yes. And that motion passes. Okay, so it is the point of the meeting where we do have reports. I will begin. I don't have much to report other than the Illinois Association of School Boards has been holding remote sessions through Zoom for the North Cook Division boards to meet and just talk and discuss various issues. So I have been trying to join onto those. Board members, typically they're on Fridays, not every Friday, but usually at 1 p.m. A notice is sent out. And it's just nice to be able to connect with other boards and see what challenges they have. It just seems that everyone is in the same boat. So it's just a nice way to connect. So that's all I have. Board members, anybody have anything else?
Just to let you know, Alex, Janet and I were on another site apparently. Kind of happened last month too. So I just joined you guys now, and Janet's trying to get on as well.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
I have nothing to report.
Anybody else? Board members?
No, I don't have anything. I have not been on those calls with you, but I've been on, I've done some virtual, meetings and stuff just with other school, with people from my home school district, and I've done some online learning classes. And yeah, I agree with you. It's the same all over. I've talked to people in Florida, and they're going through exactly the same stuff we are with, making sure everybody's fed and making sure everybody has hot spots and everything like that. So we are not unique by any means.
Okay. Thank you. Katie, anything to report? If not, or Walter, then we'll just have Scott proceed.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I do not either.
No? Okay. All right, Dr. Clay?
Okay, thank you. I don't have much either. I'll just do an update on our meal distribution. So far, since we closed schools, we've given out 54,540 meals. We're averaging 1,400 per day. And we made the decision yesterday that we will continue to provide meals throughout the summer for our families. As you know, the governor's guidelines for reopening came out this week, and it made it pretty clear that we can't have any kind of in-school things going on this summer, which would include expanded learning summer camp, which Angie will talk about in her report. And we're just waiting guidance from the state on opening school next year to see what that might look like. And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next is our operations report. Mr. Barry.
Yes, I don't have a whole lot either. I will tell you this week our custodial staff went back full time. We now have staff in the building from 6:30 to 7:30 each day, Monday through Friday. Excuse me. In addition to disinfecting everything, they've also started summer cleaning, and they're cleaning and organizing storerooms and started painting projects. And several projects they've had to put off because of all the construction we've been doing in the district the last 5 years. So they are staying busy. Since our last meeting, ComEd completely replaced the power feed in the Washington school. So that's completely done. And our pre-K center project is moving along. The roof trusses are all in, and they started the detailing this week. The excavation for the retention pond is underway. They're going to start the roof deck next week, which is good. We can get that watertight. The electrical roughing has started in the classrooms. The mason has started the interior walls of the storm shelter and also the stone face. So that's moving along well. The only bad news I have on the project is we found out this week that the casework for the classrooms is going to be delayed 3 to 4 weeks due to COVID-19.
Okay.
It was originally scheduled to be around the end of July, third week of July, and now it's the third week of August, as of right now. And at Gemini, the excavation for the field detention area started. That's going well. And the world clock graphic, which was misprinted the first time, they installed a new one. This one has some mistakes, so this is going to be reprinted by the printer and redone at no cost. It's third time's a charm, let's hope.
There you go.
And that's about all I have.
Okay, board members, any questions at all?
No.
Okay.
I do have a quick question. Sorry, I was starting to speak without turning my microphone on. Dan, so even if it's delayed 3 or 4 weeks because we made the decision not to open it till November, December, right? Till mid-year, we're still okay technically at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But we technically haven't made that decision. We're going to discuss that.
Well, that's right. So we discussed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I remember we discussed that. I couldn't quite remember what we agreed to.
Right, but that does kind of force your decision tonight, actually.
Yeah. And there's still a 50-50 chance with the schools not even opening. So, yeah. Okay.
Right.
We'll have that discussion.
Yeah, and there's always a chance. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but come July, they could say, well, we're not going to have it in August. It's going to be another month past that.
Yeah.
But so far, that's the only thing we've had problems getting. So, knock on wood, that's pretty good. So
Yeah,
far.
I agree. Thank you.
We can get the building enclosed, not have any delays in that. That'll really help the process.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. Thank you. Next up is an update on Gemini Middle School and First Steps Preschool construction. Is Mr. Leopard here with us, or are you going to be providing the report?
Yeah, he's not here.
Okay. Okay. Board members, any questions about any of the items regarding anything about Gemini or First Steps?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have a presentation by Angie Schaub on expanded learning. Okay.
to work. Okay, so everyone can see my screen, yes?
Yes, we can see it.
Great. Okay, so due to COVID-19, expanded learning went virtual as just everybody else did. We have staff been busy putting together videos and different activities for families to do. This was shared with the board. If you wanted to click on that, you can see all the different videos that were put together for by the staff at the various sites for this year. Quickly, we're going to go over some enrollment comparisons from, you've seen some of these numbers in one of the last presentations, but we've updated it to include, so these are all the programs that we have run and were able to run. So you see that we've, had small to large increases, and early dismissals was the highest increase, partially because we added more early dismissal days, but as well because we had an average of 76 kids coming every day that we had the program, which was significantly higher than the year before. And then these are the programs that were affected by and continue to be affected by COVID-19. So you can sort of see the projected amount of kids that we were looking to have based on the averages and what we had last year, how that would have sort of affected overall increase. Open gym. So open gym, we track through visits. The students come in, they sign out. So this year up through March 10th, we had about 182 more visits this year than last year. And then we stopped because of school closures. Overall, the trend was increasing enrollment. And, if we weren't in this current situation, I think that we would have continued to see that increase through the end of the year. This is just a highlight of some things that happened this year, and these are numbers based on March end of this year compared to last year. So through program fees, that's how much we saw, about $65,000 more in program fee revenue end of March this year than last year. And that can be attributed to people paying on time. And we did raise fees just a bit last year. Our state subsidy went down a little bit, and that also had to do with some payments not getting through on time and things like that. And our USDA, sorry, there's a typo, should be a comma, did go up as well. As we're serving more kids, we're serving more meals, which means we got our reimbursement. Summer Camp Academy, I know that Scott talked about this for a bit, is that the decision was made to cancel programs for the summer. It really wouldn't be safe and or what is outlined by the governor to open. If we're currently in phase 2, the chances of us being in phase 4 in a month, nobody knows. So we're sort of erring on the side of caution instead of pulling the plug very quickly and then people having to scramble to find childcare. But we will try and do some virtual camp options. There's a whole bunch of resources out there that are, being put through different camps for virtual summer camp, which would be free of charge to all of our families. But we are going to try and offer something like that to keep everybody connected and engaged throughout the summer. And then our 2020-21 programs, I'm going to quickly, Keith, I can click on this link, right? And it'll open. When you have a chance, if you'd like to look at the entire guide. So this guide breaks down the before school program, after school program, early dismissal days, the new schools out program when we have conferences. In the past, we weren't able to use the buildings because they were being used for, teachers were using them for conferences, of course. But now with the Family Resource Center, we can continue to offer childcare on those days. And then we also have basketball, soccer, or ballet. Everything that we are doing next year, starting in the fall, is in this guide. So it's not piecemealed together. It's all placed. Just a quick breakdown for the fee structure. Now, this is an approximation to kind of break down costs. Our after-school program costs about $2.50 an hour for families, and this is not the discounted rate. This is what the rate is. Early bird is about $5 an hour. Camp programs run about $4, and early dismissals are about $7. We want to keep our after school as low as we can while still meeting expenses, because we know that that's necessary service that we provide to our families. Quick update on the Family Resource Center. This is the number of visits we tracked for all of our adult classes, about 1,015 visits. Many were repeat visitors from our English classes, yoga classes, and things. And so we approximate that about 188 individuals participated in these programs. The fall and winter, we've continued with English classes virtually on Mondays, and we are, and Maria Paloma, who is teaching the yoga class, is also doing that virtually and on her YouTube channel, which is great. And then spring programs, unfortunately, were all canceled due to the COVID-19 situation. We are pushing our stakeholders meeting to June. It was meant to be April 7th and then this. So we kind of put that back and are going to shift it into June. Still hope to present in the fall. List of our community partners, and just that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
I do have a question. Thank you for all the information. For the summer camps, I'm curious. I know that at this point, it feels like summer is gone, but I also am looking at neighboring states that have said they'll start summer camps in end of June, etc. And with Governor Pritzker potentially, who knows, could issue new guidance. Do we have the ability, if for some reason we were able to offer camps, mid-July to mid-August, would we have some flexibility? Or would there be a cutoff date that we need to look at?
It's an excellent question. In terms of having staff at the ready, I think that is a possibility, or at least to run a smaller scale program. But, I hesitate to say one way or the other whether we would be able to do it, just based on logistics and if it's even a possibility based on the governor's recommendations. And Scott, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think we just have to kind of play it by ear. If we could pull something together, we certainly would.
I agree. We don't know what we don't know. I just figured I'd put it on our head because, in 2 weeks, you could come back with newer guidance. You certainly tweaked guidance already for some things like manufacturing, a few other things. So who knows? I'm always an optimist.
I think that if in 2 weeks he does come back and say camps can start, July 1st, then I think we would pull something together definitely for the month of July and August.
Good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I really like the fact that you're planning on having some remote virtual opportunities this summer. I think one of the biggest things is the sense of just isolation and just being able to continue with some kind of connectedness rather, I think is wonderful. So thank you. I know it's virtual, but I think it's nice that we're providing that opportunity.
How would we get the word out to the families on that? What's your marketing plan?
So we have a database built of expanded learning families and people who have and that's just made up of everyone who's ever participated in an expanded learning program within the last couple of years. And so we send a newsletter out to them, and that's also where we incorporate those videos that come from our sites. And I know Janet's going to put it in an East Main update. It'll go up on Twitter and Facebook and all of that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with the current situation. If we could just kind of let all of our families know, we might have some more participants, the people that are looking for something for their children to do while the whole family's home.
Absolutely. And the email that we send out also gets shared on Twitter, and then Janet shares it on the East Main District Twitter as well. So it's all over the place.
Excellent. Any other questions for Angie?
No.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Okay. Next up is a discussion on the Early Learning Center opening date.
Okay, so the attachment you have there gives you the two different options that I had presented. It seems that the delay in materials and the situation with COVID-19 seems to take the option of opening after Labor Day even off the table, really, in that building. My recommendation is you go with the other option, or if somebody has a suggestion for something in between, we could think about that. But at least the November opening gives lots of time for the COVID thing to settle down and any kind of delays that might happen between now and then.
Board members, any thoughts?
I support you.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Okay. I was initially apprehensive when you first talked about the November start. And now that I have thought about it the past month, I actually think it's a really good option. It makes the most sense. And I think it's the least disruptive to families generally, like to have them all on the same calendar. I know that would definitely be my preference as a parent. It just makes more sense. So I agree. I think that's a good route to go.
I'm on board with the November option as well. I think at this point, it makes no sense for us to try and open earlier, where we don't even know we'll be able to open earlier.
I agree.
Yeah, I just don't know what other option would even make sense other than the one after Thanksgiving. And yeah, I mean, it just, I think the timing of it all makes the most sense.
And just to add, I think parents would understand. I mean, COVID is nobody's fault. It's not the school's fault. It's not the parents' fault. It is what it is. And we're trying to do the best we can to get schools open and create a new building.
Yes.
I would agree. We don't know how things are going to go, what's going to happen. I agree.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I was not happy at all that it wasn't going to open with the rest of our buildings, but now, we're hoping that our other buildings are going to open on time. This is kind of,
I know.
We want everyone on the same schedule, at least, even if one's not opening and one is. So I agree.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, could I please have a motion to approve the ELA materials adoption, units of study in writing K through 8?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Roberson, do you want to give us an overview, please?
Of course. Good evening. We are in our second year of a multi-year plan for literacy within the district. Last spring, all of you approved our adoption of units of study in reading for grades kindergarten through 8th grade. This is the second half of that adoption. So last year was the adoption of the reading resource. This would be adoption of the writing resource. I gave you some links so that you can look a little bit into it. But if you remember from last spring, these resources were created at the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project at Columbia University. We went through a pretty thorough vetting process last spring. to kind of identify that this was the resource we wanted to use for reading instruction. Writing instruction was always a part of the plan. We just wanted to kind of stagger that implementation to give teachers time to really learn how to facilitate instruction with reading workshop. Just a quick synopsis of how writing kind of meshes with that. So the units of study for teaching and reading and units of study in opinion, argument, information, and narrative writing were planned so that when a district is ready to embark on both, the units support each other. The series are related in the content they teach, the habits they instill, and the strategies that are taught. And the methods of instruction are the same for students and teachers from reading and writing. So the learning curve isn't so steep. Things that are kind of all over the board. Our direction was always to go to recommend this adoption here in the spring, but we always like to go through a piloting process to ensure that we kind of identify bumps in the road that can help us plan for the fall. So we started that at the end of February, beginning of March, and then here we are. We had to cut that pilot short by many weeks. So I was happy that we had already made the decision this was the direction we were going. We were just going to try it out with all of our grade levels so we could ensure that we had a smooth transition next fall. So our plan is to continue moving forward with this adoption. The plan will be to train our teachers virtually here in the spring and summer. So that hopefully here next fall, we can hit the ground running with this being our core resource for writing instruction, kindergarten through 8th grade.
Okay. Thank you. Board members, any questions?
How has the reading portion been going? Because like they're intertwined. So I was just wondering how the reading has gone and what everybody's thought of the reading portion and how the kids have responded and the teachers.
Yeah, overall, we've had really good feedback from both. Something that units of study and reading and the reading workshop model in general is really focused on student engagement in reading. So time on text, I would say, is how you describe it. So last spring, we purchased up-to-date classroom libraries throughout our district. So every classroom got between 500 and 700 new books just to support this. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback from classrooms and teachers on that. I was literally the day before we kind of closed school, I was at Gemini in an 8th grade classroom watching them listen to podcasts and engage with their book clubs and things like that. So I saw a lot of engagement even at the middle school level. Obviously, with implementation, there's a curve. It typically takes 3 to 5 years to see full implementation. So we actually had some professional development in place to continue that process. This summer, we were set to have the reading and writing project come out to the district and do a full week of reading workshop instruction for all of our teachers in grade level bands. Now that's going to still happen, but virtually. So we're continuing the professional development so we can go deeper with our practices. This is a multi-year plan for literacy, so nothing happens overnight. But our literacy leadership team at the elementary level has guided a lot of our discussion and representation from what's happening throughout the district. An overwhelming support for this shift and then adopting units of study and writing. There was basically no discussion. Everyone was on board with it. So we feel that we're headed in the right direction.
No, that's good because this is a very rigorous program. So if the reading went well, then that would just follow the natural progression that you would throw the writing in, because a lot of the reading and the writing are related, and if you have 2 different programs, then it kind of gets choppy and you lose a lot of it. So that's why I was curious, because this is very rigorous. So that's awesome that our kids are able to do this.
Yeah, Mrs. Urban, and we're very lucky. We have trained instructional coaches at our buildings that were highly trained in reading and writing workshop, and they've been supporting at the building level. So that exactly what you said happens.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Gluskin?
Sorry.
Walter?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I,
Ms. Urban? Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Brooke?
Yes.
Ms. Ketchkowski?
Yes.
Ms. Sack?
Yes.
And Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes. Could I please have a motion to approve the Memorandum of Agreement, EMTAA 2020-2021 Salary Agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Dr. Clay?
Yeah, this is just a correction to an error that was in the final copy of their contract that listed the salary formula incorrectly. And so this is fixing that.
Okay. Very good. Any questions?
No.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Urban?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Brooke?
Yes.
Ms. Ketchkowski?
Yes.
Ms. Sack?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gluskin?
yes.
And that motion passes. Could I please have a motion to approve the Memorandum of Agreement, EMEA, ESL endorsement?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Dr. Clay?
Actually, I'll let Dr. Schleiser make any comments.
This memorandum of understanding represents a change in how teachers are reimbursed. We had this same memorandum of understanding approved about a year and a half ago, I believe, and it allows for teachers to earn the ESL endorsement and the district pays for it. In the previous version, teachers would be reimbursed for paying for classes after the class is finished. So people were having to put out about $700 for books, materials, and tuition, and then wait to be reimbursed for 3, 4, 5 months. The change with this memorandum of understanding is that teachers can now be reimbursed as soon as they submit receipts to us, because we learned that some were not wanted to take the courses, but were not able to put out the money to take the courses and wait to get reimbursed. And we are working right now with the local university to try and set up another cohort group where we're hopefully going to just be able to work directly with the university to pay, so the teacher won't have to get involved in any financial transactions. We're trying to make that part of it a non-issue and make it about the learning and the classes.
Great.
I think that's wonderful. I'm just curious, is there a stipulation, like if they drop the class or don't finish with the appropriate grade, do we get reimbursed for that?
Yes. You have to get a B in each class. You have to get a B in the class to be reimbursed. And if you fail, there is a period of time, a sunset period, that stipulates that if you don't finish the courses, you have to reimburse the district, or if you leave the district in a certain period of time after your last class is completed or the last tuition payment is received, that you would have to reimburse. So we did, that language is in this memorandum.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments regarding this? No. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Brooke? Ms. Ketchkowski?
Yes.
Ms. Sack?
Yes.
Oh, Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gluskin?
Yes.
Ms. Urban?
Yes.
And that motion passes. Okay. Could I please have a motion to approve the preschool arrival and dismissal times?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Dr. Clay?
Yeah, these basically, in a sense, were negotiated with the EMEA, just like we had to do with the other start times. In this situation, that just included me sending the 3 options to Kathy. Kathy spoke to the preschool teachers, and these were the times that they decided that they liked best. and they work for us.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
If parents need childcare for the second half of the day, is that just, I know in the past, like some even my kids' friends, well, like with half day kindergarten, when we had that, they would have a private company where the bus would come and pick them up at their school and take them to childcare. Is that still our option for this at this point?
Yeah, I know that we do have, there's a couple daycares that we bus, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Kaczkowski?
Yes.
Ms. Zach?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gluskin?
Yes.
Ms. Urban?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Brooke?
Yes. And that motion passes. Could I please have a motion to approve the renewal of the food service contract with Arbor Management?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Camps.
Yes, good evening. Just briefly, we are going into the 5th year of our contract with Arbor, which means this is the 4th one-year renewal with them, and it will be the last one under this contract anyway, because we will be required to go out to bid sometime next year. So this is a 1 year and the last renewal under this contract. It calls for a CPI increase. The contract utilizes the CPI for food away from home, which happens to be 3.1%. In addition to that, and in accordance with our contract and ISB as well, we will be there's going to be a couple of increases in minimum wage next fiscal year. One is effective July 1 to $10 an hour, and one is effective January 1st, 2021 to $11 an hour. So we will be billed for that incremental cost as well. The same thing happened in the renewal last year as the minimum wage laws kicked in as well.
Any questions, board members?
No.
Hopefully we'll have students that can be fed there at school.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Roll call, please.
Ms. Zach?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gluskin?
Yes.
Ms. Urban?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Brooke?
Yes.
Ms. Kaczkowski? Ms. Brooke, I thought something that said she had left the meeting, but I don't know if her system just went out or what. Mr. Schaefer, can you tell?
I see her there.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. Kaczkowski, your vote on the Arbor Food Service?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that motion passes. Could I please have a motion to approve a contract amendment with our transportation services provider, First Student?
So moved.
So if you recall in the last
I just heard a so moved. I did not hear a second.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize.
That's okay.
If you recall at the last board meeting, we did an amendment to First Student contract with a 20% discount. So we're paying 80% of the rate through April 7th. It was April 7th because at the time it was the end of the shelter in place order from the governor. So what this does is it extends that amendment through the end of the academic year. We actually were able to negotiate a deeper discount we are still going to get a 20% discount for April. We will get a 40% discount in May, and we're getting a 60% discount in the first couple of weeks in June. The objective here, and consistent with what most districts are trying to do, is to maintain our drivers so that they can be available when we have busing again. So that's the whole point here. They commit to keep our drivers, paying them wages and benefits. If for some reason they get some government grant, we agree to meet and negotiate some sort of they basically give us some credits back if that happens. So
Mr. Camps, so is this pretty much in line with what other districts are doing then? You had said that, but in terms of, are you feeling comfortable with these rates and discounts?
I am. They're all in the 20%, 40% area. Some districts are a little bit higher. There's a couple that are a bit lower, but they're all similar in nature. So yes, I am comfortable.
Okay. I'm just curious, what is First Students saying in terms of being able to definitely hold on to these drivers for us to not have an issue when we are allowed back in the buildings?
Yeah, so I talk to them every week and I ask them the same questions. So far, they've kept our drivers. Okay. We are actually utilizing 2 buses from them right now to deliver some meals around our district. I've asked them almost every week. So far, they've kept their drivers. At the end of the academic year, they will furlough their drivers, but that is no different than what happens on a normal year. So far, they're there.
Okay. So one more, and I hate to ask this what if scenario, but let's say we're not back in the buildings come the beginning of the school year, that we are continuing with remote learning. Are we able to negotiate again with them regarding this, or are we paying the full amount?
No, we would negotiate an amendment that would give us similar kinds of discounts. Who knows? We may decide that we're not going to pay them for a while. I don't know that that's the right answer either, but yes, we have the ability to negotiate an amendment, and that's what we would do.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, sure.
Jody, one more question for you. Now that we're actually paying less for the buses, I know some neighboring districts have started doing credits for parents, 25% or whatever, for the ones that actually pay for the bus. Are we looking at doing some of that as well?
Yeah, we actually are. So the general rule is if the student is coming back next year, so they're not an 8th grader, we leave the money in their account and they can apply it for next year's fees. If the student is leaving because they're an 8th grader, they're not coming back, we will reimburse them. We are in the process of reimbursing them a prorated amount, which is basically the last 3 months of the year.
Which is fair. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gluskin?
Yes.
Ms. Urban?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Brooke?
Yes.
Ms. Kaczkowski?
Yes.
And Ms. Sack?
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes. Could I please have a motion to approve a contract amendment with our transportation services provider, CityCare?
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
This
Mr.
time
Camps.
This time I waited for the second.
Thank you.
CityCare, as you know, provides individual cab-like transportation for special needs students, as well as some of our designated McKinney-Vento students. The idea, what I like about City Care, it doesn't always work, but for the most part, the same student has the same driver throughout the year.
Mhm.
So they're giving us a 30%. We negotiated a 30% discount. It's the same concept. They keep their drivers for us. They cannot, if they're considered a school transportation company, they cannot just turn around and drive cabs. That's not what it is. Also, Maine District 207 is doing a similar agreement with City Care as well. I thought I would share that.
Okay. Okay. Any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gluskin,
Yes.
Ms. Urban,
Yes.
Mr. Simmons,
Yes.
Ms. Brooke,
There's one came up on flaming.
oh, Ms. Kaczkowski,
Yes.
Ms. Eck,
Yes.
and Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes. Could I please have a motion to enter into closed session for the discussion of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Urban,
Yes.
Mr. Simmons,
Yes.
Ms. Brooke,
Yes?
Ms. Kaczkowski,
Yes.
Ms. Eck,
Yes.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Gluskin.
Okay, that motion passes. We will be going into closed session. You're not going to be returning. The next regular business meeting of the Board of Education is scheduled, for Thursday, June 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the ESC. Thank you very much.